Brad.
Yes.
Something wonderful has happened in my neighborhood all summer long.
God, I didn't know that wonderful things could still happen, period. So how lucky for your neighborhood. What's up?
Every Tuesday and every Thursday, Mr. Softy comes to town.
What?
Yes. He's out. He's about. He rolls around. He wears a mask and gloves now. And you have to stay socially distant when you're waiting in line. But you can get a soft serve cone dipped in chocolate, maybe rolled in Oreos or some sprinkles or some nonsense like that. It's delicious.
Yeah. What does he play? What's his? How does he foretell his coming? Did you record it?
No. There's an app.
I saw you reach for your phone. I was like, Of course, Will recorded the ice cream truck jingle. Wow, that's classic.
Yeah, it's good.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I lived still just a bit too much in the boonies to ever experience an ice cream truck myself back in the day. But
dude, this is the first time I've ever seen an ice cream truck.
God, like
I live in the country too.
Yeah, like could you guys get pizza delivery? Like that was also like having pizza delivered was like my mind blowing experience when I moved to an urban area because it was impossible back then.
When I went to college, and they had it. Papa John's put a stack of $5.99 unnumbered coupons on the check-in board, and my roommate stole the entire stack of them, and then he took them to the print shop and had them copied because there was no code on them.
Wow.
So I ate $5.99 large one-topping pizzas from Papa John's for a really long time. But the important thing about the story isn't the fantastic deal or the terrible pizza. It's that when I ordered the pizza the first time and they said, do you want pickup or delivery? I said pickup because it never even occurred to me that they would deliver to my dorm.
The word delivery just went in one ear and out the other.
What does delivery mean? That's impossible. No one would possibly bring a pizza to your house.
Something they do in the land of gumdrops and rainbows.
Yeah, we had to drive to the little La Petite César if we wanted a pizza when I was a child. That was the nearest pizza joint.
That doesn't sound Italian.
It was Little Caesars. Welcome to Brad and Will Made a Tech Pod. I'm Will.
I'm Brad. Thanks for having me. Oh, wait a minute.
Hey, it's good to have you here, Brad. How's everything going with you?
I haven't used that one in a while. It's fine. It's getting hot.
Yeah.
This is really, so you know that I'm really here and ready to talk when the topic at hand is the weather.
Look, on the other podcast I do, the lead topic is usually how fucking cold it is in the shop. So
okay,
this is nice. This is a nice change.
I mean, we like to dig deep on this podcast, right? And I think I've mentioned in the past that the cognitive effects, the effects on mood of being both trapped in the house for weeks and also utterly without sunshine for a period of, let's say, 6 to 8 weeks.
150 days.
Those effects have been profound. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think it might be as bad or worse where you are, right? We've talked about it pretty recently, but like literal days and days of nothing but fog, nothing but an endless white fugue out the window.
My floors have been clammy. Yes. Now it's hot and humid here, which is a refreshing change from cold and humid.
I woke up this morning and there was sun coming through the windows and I almost fell to my knees. I was so excited. So
I went out last night. We're recording this on Thursday, I think. And Perseid meteor showers are going. They'll still be going, I think, by the time people hear this, but they'll be fading by then and the moon will be up at a weird time. But I walked out at like midnight as I was getting ready to go to bed and I was like, oh shit. It's clear for the first time since this started. I got to go wake up the kid and we got to go out in the backyard and bundle up and, watch some meteor showers. So we did. It was really nice.
It was a good time.
Yeah, it was great.
What is the term Perseid refer to? Is that the specific cluster of celestial objects that are?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Brad, because I looked this up yesterday in case a 7-year-old asked and she never did. So here you are.
I am always here to fulfill the role of a 7-year-old. So
look, that's if you can't ask questions, then what is the point of even doing a podcast for either of us? The Perseid refers to the constellation from whence the meteors appear to originate in the sky.
Okay.
So they're not, but they streak across the whole sky in many cases. We saw a couple of really bright ones last night. It was really good.
I'm not trying to nitpick. I'm just trying to get my terminology straight. But they're not meteors until they enter the atmosphere, correct?
I think they're meteors until they enter the atmosphere, and then they're meteorites once they enter the atmosphere.
Is that right?
Maybe it's meteorites when they hit the ground. I don't know.
That's what I thought. But
all I know is the stalagmite, because it has the humps, and the M is the bottom one, and the stalactite comes down from the ceiling.
Is that your mnemonic for that one?
That's my mnemonic for that one. Yeah.
Mine is that stalactites have to cling very tightly to the ceiling to not fall.
Oh, I think the humps are better. They bring all the stalactites to the yard.
Let's agree to disagree on this one. Whatever remembers it for you.
Brad, what are we talking about this week?
Stuff and things, hardware.
We're
here to talk about hardware. Well, more specifically, that's a pretty broad category.
Yeah, we a few weeks ago we did a bunch of software unitaskers, like the one-off programs that we find really useful, and got a ton of good suggestions from the audience.
I was trying to avoid using the word unitasker, but I couldn't come up with anything else. So
I know look, sometimes you have to use the shorthand.
Yes,
it's a venerable term that we all should. I can't remember the other word that we're never allowed to use in reviews. Anyway,
mixed bag.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. We're going to talk about the kind of single-use, one-off tools that are hardware that we find useful in our day-to-day life, and we would love to hear what yours are after you hear ours. So get your emailing fingers ready, I guess.
Totally. Yeah, I honestly I think the most gratifying thing coming out of that episode was seeing people get super excited about stuff that we had suggested and talking about how it had made their lives better.
There's a list on our wiki of things that we suggested, and then the other things that people suggested as well. Also, we have a wiki now.
Yes, we do. I don't know why, but for some reason, when I brought my list to that episode, I was like, this is what I came up with, but I'm sure everybody knows about all of these, but it turned out to totally not be the case.
No, nobody knows about any of this stuff because you just use it and you don't ever think about it. And it turns out if you share the knowledge, it'll be good.
Special shout out to Nursoft coming out of that episode.
Yeah.
Nur has become like a superstar of the TechPod Discord. Because,
is he in there?
No. God, I wish. In fact,
shout out to Nur.
After the probably fifth or sixth time this happened, I thought, you know what, we should just reach out to him and get him on this Discord. And then I was like, you know what, we should reach out to him and get him on this podcast.
Yes.
Which we should probably run by him before I mention it in public. But
that's fine.
People just keep finding utilities that he's written because there are literally dozens of them. Like, I feel like every other time somebody asks how to do something on that server at this point, somebody pops up with a Nursoft utility, including me. Like I was trying to dump the EDID from my monitor. It's the thing that negotiates HDMI handshaking.
Oh yeah.
And
I've used that tool before.
Well, so he actually has two.
I didn't know that.
He has two different utilities that can both dump EDIDs from monitors.
Wow. I always call those EDIDs.
Okay. That's sounds like a species of seasonal insect.
It's like some sort of aphid.
Oh yeah, the
small
Edids.
aphid-like thing.
The Edids are out. The Edids are singing.
I wiped out my cherry trees this year. It's real bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, those Edids. Anyway, yeah. So you want to dig in first?
Yeah.
What do you got?
The first thing that came to mind is something I have actually been testing. Can I use that term here?
Ooh.
Evaluating.
No, it's a patent pending trademark. We emailed it to ourselves like 10, 12 years ago.
Copyrighted word. I've been evaluating something called the Genki Covert dock, which, full disclosure, was sent to me by the people who make it.
Is that some spy stuff?
Not really. It's pretty friendly, actually. It's got pretty colorful, friendly looking packaging.
Oh, is this that little switch HDMI duber that's all in one?
Yes, I guess this is a bona fide duber. I never thought about that.
I want to, like I saw this and I was like, this is too good to be true because I bought an extra $80 switch dock so I could capture my switch easily.
Wait, like the Nintendo brand?
Yeah, and also plug into the TV.
Let me check. Yes, I too have had my eye on this thing forever because they kickstarted it. Does Kickstarter?
It was like 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Put dates on their campaigns. Look
for the first post update and you'll get an idea.
Am I going to have to scroll backwards to figure this out? Probably. It's been at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years, something like that.
That's awesome.
So,
because the challenge with the Switch,
God, maybe it hasn't been as long as I thought. I guess it was about a year ago, actually. Anyway,
time is ineffable, Brad.
So yeah, it was kickstarted, and I guess it's been going out to Kickstarter backers for the last handful of months. Although obviously the pandemic has complicated that quite a bit. But it just started shipping to like retail for everybody, so you can just buy it.
Nice.
But yeah, so it's a little pricey. It's $74.99, but it basically looks like, it's roughly the size of like an iPad charger, maybe a little bit bigger.
Yeah, it's like a big power brick.
Same fold out plug as like an iPad charger, except it has it has a USB-C power delivery port, a USB-A 3.1 port, and an HDMI port.
Well, hold on. So where did the switch plugs into the USB-C port?
Yes, because if you look at the bottom of your switch, that's just a USB-C port.
Yeah, so you get a double-ended USB-C. Does it have to be a special USB-C cable? Or
yes,
does anyone
wow. See, this is why I do this podcast with you, because you know all of the relevant nitty-gritty to ask about. Yes, it has to be this is the current thought on Reddit and in like Nintendo communities. They say it has to be a USB 3.1 cable.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But and this is somewhat apocryphal, but what I've been seeing on Reddit is that it specifically has to be a USB-C 3.1 Gen 1 cable.
Oh,
because there are reports of people buying Gen 2 cables and saying that they don't work. And it sounds like that may be the fault of the Switch and not the dock, not the Covert dock.
It's shocking that Nintendo would jack up the USB implementation.
You think?
This is my surprised face.
Yeah, like that's putting the cart before the horse a little bit, but the Genki people, Human Things is the name of the company that makes this thing. Like they themselves say like, hey, please use the cable that it comes with if at all possible. And if you have to buy another USB-C cable, please don't buy a cheap one. Yeah. Because like the whole pitch for this thing off the bat was, you remember when the third-party docks first started coming out for the Switch? Like what?
Yeah, they bricked a bunch of switches.
Yeah, there were like Amico and some other companies were making third-party docks that were straight up frying switches. And it seems like you said, Nintendo does a bunch of non-standard power stuff with the Switch. Like people didn't figure out what weird out of spec stuff the Switch was looking for, and they just kind of made assumptions, and that was bad. Anyway, these people have put out a bunch of information about all the engineering they did to kind of reverse engineer what the Switch wants and make sure that they are matching that.
They just took apart a bunch of docks and then jammed them into this little thing.
That's exactly right. That has to be what they did. So
they didn't actually do that.
No,
for the record.
No, this thing is quite small. But it works as expected, basically, so far. I tried it. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, does it do all it does all the mode switching and stuff that the Switch does?
Yeah. So
you're running at 1080p with that thing plugged in?
Yeah. So if you just plug the USB-C in, it will just charge. When you plug an HDMI in, it detects that there's now video present, and then it starts spitting out video. So you can use it. So you can use it as a USB-C charger for the Switch and also for video out at the same time.
And I suppose you plug stuff into the USB-A port for like if you want a controller hardwired in or something like that. Yeah, so you can use a
controller. I actually just right before this podcast, I tested you can use a USB-A Ethernet adapter.
Oh, okay.
So I had video coming out of this thing and a wired internet connection into the Switch through the dock.
Bananas. I suppose you can plug a hub in if you want to do like internet.
Yes, they do say you could use a hub to get more USB connections if you wanted to. It also it'll handle video for anything that does DisplayPort over USB-C. So
I just do your laptop, presumably.
I need to test the laptop. I have not done that yet, but I did plug my girlfriend's iPad Pro into this thing, and it spits right out to the TV just like a Switch would.
Do you know if it does it support power profiles that the Switch doesn't, or does it only support the weird 29 watt one?
That's a good question. They may have that information on their website. They do go into some pretty decent detail about this stuff.
That's like a weird deep cut. I wouldn't expect.
Can you give an example of something else they would be looking for?
The iPad supports a bazillion different profiles. Like the Switch is weird in that it only supports one USB 3.1 power profile.
Okay.
Remember, so they're 16 watts, 29 watts, 40, 65 watts, all the way up to, like what would be like your laptop. If you have a MacBook that is powered by USB-C, it's a 65 watt power source probably. So
I haven't seen any specific language about other power profiles, but it's possible. I mean, it will charge those devices. Like maybe just I guess what you're saying is if it doesn't support those profiles, it may not charge optimally. Is that the situation?
Yeah.
But it would charge.
So the way that the 3 stuff works is it negotiates. We talked about this in the USB power episode, I think, but it negotiates the highest rate that they both support. And if it doesn't find one, then it'll fall back on the USB 2, the old school power charging.
I am embarrassed to admit that my retention rate for the stuff we talked about that
was in like,
it's pretty
I feel like that was in like April. This might as well have been 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So this sounds awesome.
It is awesome. Like I have, and we'll get to this in some other stuff I want to talk about. I have a minor obsession with consolidating the types of electronics that you carry around with you?
Yeah. You're an EDC guy.
Wait, what is that?
Everyday carry.
Is that a good thing? Oh God, really?
Yeah, you're one of those guys.
Oh boy.
If you have an obsession with consolidating the gear you carry around.
Am I going to have to go sign up for a subreddit because of this?
Do you have a weird wallet? Like, is your wallet made of Kevlar and does it fold in weird ways or something?
Oh, we should not get into my wallet.
Wait, do you have a Costanza wallet? Do you have a soup wallet?
Not exactly.
Brad, tell me you don't have a soup wallet.
Well, what is the technical definition of a soup wallet?
Do you remember Kessler's wallet?
Oh, absolutely. But I don't remember what exactly defined it as a soup wallet.
Bulging, nondescript, and amorphous.
No, it's like wallet shaped. Like it has, let's say that it's retained its shape pretty well over the last 24 years that I've been using it.
Holy shit, you have a 24-year-old wallet?
I've been using the same wallet since junior year of high school.
Is it Velcro?
No, it's leather. It's like it's held
How
up.
have I never...
Surprise. Do you want me to go get it?
Yes.
Do you want to see it? I guess I have to go get it now, right?
This is going to be the episode picture now. Congratulations.
Talk amongst yourself. It's a bit ragged.
It's time, dude.
I know.
That is a soup wallet.
Well, so you can subtract, let's say, the last 5 to 7 years that I have been telling myself I needed a new wallet and been putting it off. But
wow.
I mean, it's
fun. You want to see what my wallet looks like?
This
is my wallet.
No, I know. Yes. Trust me. I would
carry the little foldy.
I would
guy.
like to have a slimmer.
Folds.
I'd like to have a slimmer wallet, but I mean, it's
wow.
It's
the fraying edges that really sell the 24 years.
I know, but how many people are looking at my wallet?
Look, at this rate, you're only likely to have maybe 2 more wallets for your entire life. Maybe 3 if you're really lucky.
You thought the 15-year-old monitor situation was dire, or the 17-year-old office chair that I need to get replaced as well. I mean, I think we talked about that with these Cambridge Soundworks speakers, right? Or did we discuss that?
Those are good. I'm on board with you. Like, I have a pair of 15-year-old headphones there that I use all the time. I love them.
Did we actually talk about that though? Not only are they good.
You and I have talked about it. I don't know if we've talked about it on a podcast.
Not only are they good, and like I've fixed a bunch of stuff on these. Like I had to solder some of the wires back together after they were chewed through by small rodents and so forth. Yeah. But last time I was at home, I realized that my sister had also had a set of these in college, but that she barely ever used them. Like they were practically new.
Wow.
And so I requisitioned that extra set of these, which, obviously these haven't been out of production for
20 years, 15 years. Yeah.
Years at least. So you're obviously not going to get any more of them, but I found this whole extra set that is practically brand new. Considering that I have had these speakers for 20 years, they have been on, like the subwoofer has been powered on for basically the entirety of that 20 years, and they're still going strong. And I have a brand new backup set for when things fail. It is entirely possible these are the only computer speakers I will ever own for my entire natural life.
Look, on that I salute you, because those are some awesome fucking speakers.
Hell yeah.
When I left Maximum PC, I had a set of those Cambridge Soundworks on my test bed in the lab. And they were like, hey, are you going to take these speakers? Because I was the only one who wanted them, and I didn't. And I remained sad about that.
Man, that's almost...
You're thinking about this the wrong way. Instead of trying to stretch those out and use 2.1 speakers for the rest of your life, what you need to do is get that other pair of speakers and put the 2 on the back wall behind you. And you have 4.2 speakers, which is perfect for apartment life.
Probably should do that.
Yeah.
I probably should do that.
2 subwoofers.
Anyway, it's time. It's time for a new wallet. It's time for a new chair. It is not time for new speakers.
Not time for new Switch adapter either, it sounds like. That thing sounds dope.
It is super cool. It's been, so I've tried it on directly into my PC monitor, worked fine. Directly into my Elgato capture card, also worked fine. Directly into my TV, worked fine.
Perfect.
Through my AV receiver, it's had some pretty weird handshaking issues.
Like no video or no audio?
Like it just wouldn't put out video. It just charged and kept charging and kept displaying on the small screen as if there was nothing connected.
Weird.
I finally got it to work right before this by plugging the iPad in first, and the iPad spit out through the receiver fine. And then I pulled that and plugged it into the Switch, and then the Switch worked through the receiver fine. So I don't know if I don't know. It's
funny. You and I we both had weird problems with that receiver and HDMI issues. Because I have the same. I think we have the same Sony one that Wirecutter used to recommend.
Okay.
And it's
it is a Sony.
Yeah, and I had the HDMI CC problems with the Mister. We don't need to get into that again. But
I ran it by the people that make the dock, and they actually looked up the model and said, hey, it's probably a handshaking issue. And then sure enough, like I said, I tried plugging and unplugging some stuff for a while, and it finally worked. So I think it's something weird there. But everything else, like I said, everything else I've tried it on, it works exactly as expected. And it seems pretty awesome.
How much is it, Brad?
It's $75, which is kind of a lot.
That's expensive. But
it does a lot. It's funny, though. It's funny, though, because I started using it, and it was funny how rapidly my expectations went from, wow, this thing does everything, to, oh, but what if it also did this? Because it does so much, and I have a USB-C MacBook now. I was like, oh, man, what if this was also a 65-watt charger and it could run my MacBook Pro? It
would be a lot bigger, I think.
But yes, I think that's the key difference, right? Is this thing is not much bigger than an iPad charger.
Yeah, that's a pretty good size for that. I mean, in fairness, it would have been much more useful before you stayed at home all the time and never left your Switch dock.
That's the other thing, is that the coolness, the usefulness, the utility of this thing is kind of purely hypothetical right now, because I have all my big permanent Switch equipment here all the time, and I'm never going anywhere. But
but just conceptually, I'd much rather buy that and have something that is like, it irks me that the way I capture Switch games is that I have a dock on my desk that I drop the Switch into.
Yeah.
It still feels weird.
Yeah. So I'm going to start using this for video capture for the Switch, just because it's more convenient.
Does the Switch screen still turns off when it detects the dock, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So you can't handheld and capture at the same time and still see what's on your screen.
Sadly, no, that is a problem. But I've traveled with a real Switch dock before. I've traveled with some of the smaller, reduced size docks. Like, this is by far, because you're gonna bring a charger with you anyway. Might as well bring one that can also make the Switch work on a TV.
Well, it's funny, when I travel with the Switch, I often just bring like a big battery backup and charge the battery backup and then plug that into the Switch, rather than carry another power. But I also always carry one of those multi-port USB power bricks when I travel. So. Sure. Which I guess leads to my first thing, multi-port USB chargers. Oh, yeah. I have filled my house with these things now because I'm a dumbass, but also I like having chargers everywhere I go. And I did a new thing because, like, we've reached a point in the house where we have too many devices that charge on USB, and we also have too many different standards of USB to plug in. So we have a lot of Lightning devices. We have a few USB-C devices in the Switch and like Switch controllers. We have micro USB devices in battery backups and PlayStation controllers. And we have a few mini USB devices in like Switch Pro controllers. I feel like there's one more that I'm missing, but maybe that's it. No, that's it. And then, So I have multi-port USB chargers on my desk, behind the bed that like wire up to the nightstands, and then one in the living room, one in the living room, one in the kitchen for, work when you're sitting in the couch and you need to plug in, or when you're in the kitchen.
The goal is just to never have to stand up, right?
The goal is to never have to do anything, like just to always have a cable there, so you never need to use the battery. That's the dream. But I got these, they're called, let's see, Digital Ant Gen X Micros. And there's a bunch of different companies that make these, but these are the ones that I bought because the reviews were pretty good on iTunes.
Did you say Digital Ant?
Digital Ant. Not AUNT, but ANT.
Okay.
They've all been stolen by my child, so I don't know where. I don't have one here.
Oh, she's old enough to steal, huh?
Look.
Wait a minute.
What?
No fucking way.
What?
Oh, man, I just ended up on their Amazon store page.
Is it good?
They make the thing that I want to talk about next that I have not had a good vendor for in quite some time. So This is quite fortuitous, but we'll get to that.
So, okay. So here's the way it works. You got a normal cable, normal big USB-A cable on one end. And then the other end, you have a little MagSafe dealie that you can peel the tip off of, and it just snaps on. Huh. So basically, you take the stump of whatever connector you want, jam it in the device, and then magnet it off just like an old Apple MagSafe connector.
Wow. That's crazy.
So it's fantastic for shit like controllers, because like I don't want to have to fiddle with plugging that in. I just want to just get it close enough and have it click into place. And B, when my daughter is like trying to charge her iPad or a Switch, I'm sitting there watching her flail around and jam the cable against her stomach and stuff like that. I'm like, oh God, I'm going to end up pulling this thing out with a bare needle nose pliers. But with the MagSafe on there, if she torques it the wrong way, it just disconnects, and there's no risk of fucking up the connector because there's not a lot of traffic on the connector, and we don't bend or break the connectors off in the device.
So this is just for the cables that they make, you're saying?
These are just for the cables they make.
They don't make chargers, is what you're saying.
They don't make chargers. Okay. So I'm plugging these into like my normal Anker multi-port USB chargers.
Wow, man,
and I have
looking, holy shit. I'm looking at one of these, like here's like USB-C, micro USB-A, and Lightning for like $6.
So the one that I got was a 3-pack for like $18 that had 3 cables that were pretty long. They're like 1.5 or 2 meter cables. And then there's 9 tips, I think, in each one.
Hang on, I have to stop you for a second. Are we going metric on this podcast?
Look, sometimes...
Like, I'm not necessarily complaining. Like,
sometimes metric... Look,
I knew I would need to make the transition sooner or later.
I think in metric. Look, if we're going to move to New Zealand, you're going to have to learn metric, Brad.
I wasn't quite ready to do it in front of an audience, but I'll give it a shot.
Look, okay, so 1.5 meters is
I know
5.5 feet.
It's roughly more like a yard, give or take, right?
4.5 feet. Sorry,
is it really?
Meter, 2.54 centimeters in an inch.
I thought a meter was closer to 3 feet.
So. A meter is 3 feet, but 4.5 feet is 1.5 meters.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I like these things a lot. They're not much more expensive than a normal ass cable, and they have a cool like braided outside edge.
Yeah, they look appealing. They look nicely made. Are they nicely made? Because there's a lot of stuff that looks nicely made on Amazon these days that is decidedly not.
I've been using these for like 2 months now, and I haven't been disappointed. And like because the magnet is the weak spot on the connector, like even if you wrench the cable end, it doesn't like there's no stretch. You have to really mess up to jack up the ends of these cables, I think.
Sure.
So I'm
That's
a fan.
Exciting, man. I started to ask, like I assumed these were charging only, but this says charging and data.
It's charging and data. My assumption is that like the data throughput's not going to be great on them. I'm exclusively using them for charging. So your mileage at some point, I guess I'll update the firmware on my index controllers and I'll let you know how that goes. So,
sure. Okay. I had one more question and I'm struggling to, last question, which I assume you must have figured out because you have a small child.
Yes.
How do you keep up with the tips that are not currently connected? Do they have any kind of provision for like, do they magnet onto anything else or?
I have a giant wad of them magneted onto each other. This sits on my desk.
Just a horrible amalgam.
It's like a homunculus of USB ends.
Yes. It's like the thing from the end of Inside, except USB connectors.
All tips. It's like micro USB. You know, the one thing that they don't have is they don't have mini USB, which is kind of a bummer. But since the only thing that we have that uses that still is the Switch Pro controller, or the Wii U Pro controller. That's fine.
That still would have been nice though. That stuff does. Like I've got a PlayStation Move that uses that. Yeah, that stuff does hang around, but that's fine.
I have a dock for my Move controllers because I use the PSVR stuff so frequently.
Yeah.
And then on the Anker multiport charger front, we've talked about these before, but they come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes. If you want like USB 2A chargers, you can get ones that have like 10 ports for $50 or something, which seems like overkill. But I guess there's people out there with 5 kids in their family, and like those phones have to get charged somewhere.
Sure.
The ones that I use most, I have one that's a 4-port with one USB-C port, so 5 total ports that does fast USB-C charging up to like 40 watts. That's really good. Okay. And then I have a 6-port one under the bed for Gina's and my watches, phones, and Kindles, I think.
Quick question about that stuff. I'm in the market for a new USB hub for behind my PC, just to plug input devices and so forth into. I'm coming across a decent number of USB 3 hubs that have a certain number of ports sectioned off for charge only.
Yeah.
What is the advantage there? Is that they can deliver more current when you don't also have to worry about data in the same port, or what's the deal?
I think it's just that a lot of people only need, if I'm plugging my phone I don't want to plug my phone into the computer because it pops up a bunch of crap that I don't need.
Okay.
Right. So it's like sometimes you just want to charge.
I guess that's why. Yeah. Maybe to ask the question in the reverse direction, why aren't they all just proper USB data ports? But maybe that's why. I mean, I would assume it's also probably cheaper to, you need a less complicated controller for fewer data ports and stuff. Cheaper to make.
Well, and also USB 3 has a lower limitation on the total number of devices on the chain than USB 2 did.
Interesting.
I think you can only do, and that may have changed with the later USB 3 specs, but at least at the beginning, it was only 128 total devices. So like when you consider that a lot of devices, like let's say a VR headset, shows up as like 12 devices, you can quickly run out of the endpoints on USB. So like you don't really want a USB 3 hub with like 20 ports on it. It's not or even 10 ports. It's probably not a great idea.
Interesting. Actually, on the same topic, one of the hubs I was looking at had like mostly USB 3 ports, but also 2 or 3 USB 2.
That's weird.
Yeah. Okay. So I was wondering if you had an explanation for that.
That could be a power thing.
I think so. I want to say it had an AC adapter. I could be wrong about that.
Sometimes I actually have no idea why they would do that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I also thought that was kind of strange. Although actually, it just occurred to me there are maybe some very weird edge cases where that's useful, like the
like audio interfaces. You probably want to plug into USB 2 only.
Like the Bluetooth dongle that I have can only be plugged into USB 2 because I guess the polling rate of USB 3 is enough to throw it off somehow.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
I guess that's why the USB 3 audio interfaces are USB 2 only.
Yeah,
also.
that's probably.
Weird.
Do you know how that stuff works? If you've got a now we're just talking about USB. I'm sorry.
That's like I said, more USB episodes.
I'm in the market, so if you have a hub, before I forget the question, if you have a hub and it's got one USB 3 connection out to the PC, and then you plug USB 2 connection or devices into some of those ports.
I don't believe that it brings the whole hub down to USB 2.
Okay, or even anything along those lines. I wouldn't have thought the whole connection would go down to the fallback like that, but
it probably depends on the hub, but it shouldn't if it's a good one.
Okay,
how's that?
Okay, that's quite good.
Yeah, what's you got some cables here?
Yeah,
what's your cable sitch?
I just want to say I'm clicking around here. I mean, I'm discovering this in real time. Digital Ant might be my new favorite company.
Ooh.
Not least of all because their logo is an ant.
It's
pretty great.
Your Aunt Mabel?
It's pretty great. No. It's like it's a tiny insect, but it's like it's kind of cartoonish and cutesy, but not too overly so.
Oh yeah, that's a charming little guy.
Is it weird to make their logo the show art this week?
No, the logo has to be your soup wallet, dude.
Free advertising for Digital Ant.
Yeah, you're not getting out of the soup wallet situation.
Fine. Actually, you know what? I should have mentioned this before. This is a whole other like tech topic. My girlfriend bought me a new wallet this past Christmas.
Ooh.
But it was one of the RFID blocking wallets, which a lot of them seem to be these days.
You are definitely into EDC territory here.
So I couldn't use it on the bus, so I ended up sending it back.
Oh, you couldn't use it on the bus because it blocked the card?
Yes,
you had to take the card out?
I don't want to have to fish my Muni card out of my wallet every time I get on the bus, so I decided that was a deal breaker, but I almost had a new wallet is the point.
Wait, are you a Muni card guy, not a Clipper card guy?
Well, it is a Clipper card.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was a different thing.
I imagine anybody who doesn't live in the Bay Area doesn't know what a Clipper card is.
I haven't written it's funny. So even putting the Clipper on the outside edge of my wallet, it never works.
Fuck that. You know what? Like, I'm just going to lean entirely into my persona here.
Okay.
It's not a Clipper card. It's a TransLink card.
Whoa. What the hell is a TransLink card?
How long has it been since you've seen one of these?
I have never seen one of those. Is that what you got to
TransLink is what TransLink is what Clipper used to be. And I don't know why they rebranded at some point in the last decade.
Wow, is that what it looked like when you? Yes. I wondered if that's what you had to get to Sausalito when we were over there.
This is the one I bought in 2008 to get to the Sausalito office.
Wow, it has a smart chip card on it.
Back when it was still TransLink. Well, I assume that some version of that chip is still in the current cards, right? You just can't see it anymore.
Yeah, that's probably true.
But yeah, when they rebranded a Clipper, they were like, you got a TransLink card, it'll work. So
that's really funny. I had no idea.
A little deep cut for Bay Area residents. But anyway, the other reason that Digital Ant might be my new favorite company is that, and this ties right back into my apparent everyday carry obsession. When we were making the list for this episode, one of the things I wanted to put on here was retractable cables. Because
I thought it was going to be the Bluetooth garage door opener.
No. Well, that's the one with the ant on it. I'm pretty excited about that too. But I fucking love retractable cables. Ever since I went to Japan for the first time in like 2003, 2004, and found a retractable mini USB cable over there. back when such a thing was unheard of in the States. I have loved, in fact, that is basically the origin of my appreciation for consolidating electronics. But the problem, and I was literally lamenting this as I was making the list for this episode. I was thinking to myself, man, I've still got that same original retractable mini USB cable I got in Japan from 16 years ago or whatever. But because it's fine. It works. It's still fine. Also, I mean, how often do you use mini USB these days?
Okay, fair. Fair.
Let me get to the point here. That cable's still fine. All of the more recent retractable cables that I've bought in the last like 3 to 5 years have all gone to shit.
So we tested a bunch of retractable cables at Maximum PC in like the mid 2000s, and they were almost all bad. Right. But I think we were looking at like Ethernet and stuff too. So it's hard to say. But
maybe I just got lucky, but I've had the spring the retraction mechanism just fall to pieces on a bunch of the ones I've bought. But I clicked, like I said, I clicked through the Digital Ant store, and right here at the top of their page, they've got a whole line of nice looking retractable cables. And since you vouch for them, I have no idea how the data works, but for charging, they're great. I might have to stock up. They've got a whole bunch. They've got retractable cables that have like all those tips on them. USB-C, Lightning. God, look at all this.
Can you plug multiple things at once into those multi-head cables? That's the thing I don't know. We should get some of these in and test them out.
I doubt that. That seems dodgy. I think I would be. You know what? I would be a little concerned for my device. I think if I were to attempt something like that.
This is like the time that I got the PCI Express extender to make my video card vertically mounted in the case and blew up the motherboard because it was $5 and I was a dumbass for paying $5 for something that I plug $1,000 video card into.
Sometimes you got to go for it.
I was glad it blew up the video card, the motherboard, and not the video card. To be honest.
Yes. Anyway, yeah, like I love retractable cables, and I have stopped buying them in recent years because they've all been so bad. And now I'm pretty hopeful looking at the stuff here that I mean, these are $11. This one is how long is this?
That's a perfectly reasonable price for a USB cable, I think.
Especially like one that does three different types of connections. Wow, 5 adjustable links.
I wonder if that means it like ratchets out to you need to get these and let me know how they are.
I'm gonna have to. Well, maybe I'll wait until I actually have to travel again.
Well, maybe fair. So what do you do for cable management if you don't have retractable cables?
So I do still have a decent number that have not died yet. Like I was just kind of stubbornly rebuying the ones that broke for a while. So I've got a bunch. But I don't know, man. Cable wrapping is a very personal subject. I don't know if you want to get into that on here.
Well, so I was going to say, I don't know if you guys use these in the shop, but I used to use these Velcro ties that were great, except for they get really munged up and horrible. And I switched to these things called bongo ties, which are the...
Yes.
Hold on. I couldn't tell. Okay. So...
I was grabbing a cable. Sorry.
Yeah. So the bongo tie is like a rubber band with a little... It's like a... I don't know. Oh, that's a good coil. It's like a rubber band with a little thing on it. Like it's like a hourglass shape.
Okay.
And the rubber band is looped around that and pulled through, and then you just wrap that around the cables, the whole thing, and hook the toggle.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Through the rubber band.
Yeah, I think my girlfriend might have a few of those actually.
Yeah, they're fantastic, but the rubber bands break down over time. So I wonder if you got a better
for storing cables.
Yeah, just for bundling up cables.
Here is my method.
You do the clean coil.
I very gently, because you never want to stress connectors too much.
No.
I learned that from the old, the MacBook. Remember the old school
we did a video.
MagSafe? Yeah,
we did a video about that.
Do you remember how many people had the cable fray right there at the edge of the brick?
Yep. Yes. There's a company that makes this gluey epoxy stuff, like putty epoxy stuff, called Sugru. That a large portion of their business was people fixing the joint on their MacBook power bricks because it broke every time.
Just don't put pressure on that thing.
Yeah, I know. We did a video.
In the first place. It was really funny.
It was like a 40s style PSA.
They didn't have MacBooks in the 40s.
No, but I did it in like 2011 in the basement of the whiskey office.
That's the joke. Yeah. Okay. This is going to play amazingly well on an audio.
This is great audio
podcast, but I just
if you keep doing this, we're going to have to start doing video now.
Gently wrap the cable around my hand, around my kind of 4 fingers, basically.
Yeah.
Just take the ends and just kind of wrap them around the inside of the coil.
Well, I mean, yeah, you could do that too.
And it just, no stress on the cable. It's pretty much lays flat.
So,
that's
yeah,
my
but
method.
the braided cables don't have enough heft. They don't have enough torsion in there for that to work.
Yeah, I can see that. If you've got a stiff cable, my method's maybe not going to work too well. But
stiff cable works better. You don't want a flaccid cable, I guess.
Nobody wants that. All right. Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about retractable cables other than that I think they're great. And I wish they were better. You know, I wish they were manufactured to a higher quality. And now that you've turned me on to digital and I'm hopeful that these are pretty good. They've got 4.5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. Yeah,
they rated highly. I looked at all the different MagSafe USB cable companies, and they were the ones that seemed to be the most legit.
I don't see anybody complaining about broken retraction mechanisms on here, so
there you go.
I might have to grab a couple of these next time I have to fly somewhere.
You know, one of the things that I've done over the last year that has improved my life dramatically is maybe 2 years now, is I've started adding lights. Like LED lights it turns out, run on batteries for a really long time. Or you can power them off of something goofy like USB. So I started by getting just a cheap, like $5 USB strip light that had a USB plug for power. And I plugged that into the USB port on my monitor and then glued it underneath the monitor with double-sided foam tape.
Okay.
So that I have like down lighting on the back of the monitor for when I'm working on my desk.
Okay. Smart. Do you leave it on all the time?
No, it has a switch on the side so I can turn it on and off. It's hardly ever on. But when I need it, it's there.
Oh, that does sound useful.
Yeah. But like the king of all lights in my house is a good headlamp.
Okay.
I bought I have a bunch of them because we have 3 people in the family. We need them. They're nice when you're walking the dog and stuff, but they're also awesome when you're working on computers, when you're like under the desk digging around doing cable work or something like that. So I put on the Black Diamond Spot 325, which is the Wirecutter recommended headlamp right now, and somebody gave me one for Christmas last year.
Okay, I wasn't going to ask.
Yes, hello.
But I'm just going to ask. To clarify, we are talking the type of headlamp like one might wear caving. Is that correct?
I mean, I assume miners wear headlamps, yes.
Miners wear Okay, it is in fact a lamp on your head.
This one does not burn whale oil or anything like that. It has a couple of batteries and an LED light and has red lights.
Have you ever worn a fuel burning type of headlamp?
No, that seems like it'd be a really good way to burn your hair off.
I have. It's pretty weird.
What, really?
Yeah, I went caving one time when I was like 14.
But did they not have electricity then?
Had to do the caver's kiss if your light went out. You have to kind of kiss your headlamp somebody else's. Yeah, together to kind of reignite yours.
When I went caving and I was 14, we carried mag lights. Like,
This was, I don't know, maybe they were trying to give us a nice retro experience. I'm not sure.
Where was this in North Carolina someplace?
Yeah, God, where was this? Was up around Boone, I want to say, somewhere in that area.
Wow.
I forget. It's been a long time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, no, when I did my overnight caving trips, we always used electricity.
Not overnight. This was like for an hour or a couple hours or something.
We went camping in Lost Sea, which is like near Chattanooga. And we went to I want to say it was a 2-day caving excursion at this place in Greenville at a science camp.
That's intense.
With 7th grade. It was cool.
Was it like the super, super claustrophobic, like you're inching your way through like 10-inch gaps hinky. Or whatever?
Yeah, it wasn't 12, like there was a place that they were like, if the water is too high, we won't be able to go back any further from here on because, it was the kind of thing that Elon would design a submarine that no sane person would get in to get through probably.
Yes. Makes me grateful in retrospect that there's not a lot of seismic activity in that part of the world.
My mom had an earthquake the other day. There was one in North Carolina.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Then I saw the film The Descent and I will never go in a cave again.
It's funny. I never remember being scared in the caves. Now it is absolutely terrifying to me.
You could not get me in another one of those things at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, so the headlamp, I've had a bunch of headlamps over the years. The one I have now is really nice. It's just one band. It's not like a head strap across the middle or anything like that. It's really, really light. It's bright. The batteries, like using Eneloops, the batteries last for 14 or 15 hours.
Wow. Damn.
So like it's like literally multiple weeks of taking the dog out or,
that's great.
Months if I'm just using it to work on the PC.
Sure. I should totally get one of those. Are they relatively inexpensive?
It's like $20.
Oh, wow.
You get a really nice one for 25
of those.
Yeah. Everybody should have one of these. That's
every
the thing.
time I work on the computer, I either have to drag it into a room with a bunch of natural light or like contort some lamp on the floor to like prop it up on a milk crate. try to get some light in there. Wow, man, where have I been all this time? Yeah, seriously.
You just put the light on your head, and then you're good to go. There's light everywhere you're looking.
Dude, I am literally assembling a wish list off of this episode. This is good stuff.
Well, and so the neat thing is, like, when I was outside last night and we were trying to see the meteors, and I didn't want to blow out my night vision, but I needed a light because my daughter wanted something from inside, I switched over to red light mode.
Oh, wow.
And it has like a relatively dim, but like when your night adjusted eyes are okay, you can see whatever you need to see. And that works too.
That's super cool.
I think it also has an annoying flashy mode, but I suppose that's if you're in trouble or something, need help. I don't know. And then the last thing I talked about a few weeks ago when we did the other episode, but it's the Amico motion sensor closet light. And it's a USB battery. Like it's a battery about the size of like, I don't know, it's like 3 inches long, maybe 1.5 inches wide. And it has a USB-A port, and so you can plug it into any kind of charger device and it'll charge. And the battery is long enough that it runs a motion-activated light in the closet, motion and light-activated light in the closet, which doesn't have any natural lighting and is really deep and is like usually involved getting a flashlight to get like cans of soup out of the back. And now whenever you open the pantry door, the light turns on and it's fabulous. So like the upshot here is that there are a lot of weird, like you can buy battery powered USB strip lights. So if you want to put under counter lighting or something like that, under shelf lighting someplace, you can do it in a non-permanent way that doesn't require permanent wiring and stuff like that. And like the hassle is, oh, I have to plug this in every 3 weeks or a month or something like that, which isn't awesome. That bad.
Yeah, that's super cool.
And that was like $15-20 too.
Yeah.
So
cool. Is it my turn?
I mean, yeah, I feel like I'm done.
I'm half of this podcast.
Yeah.
I guess I can decide that it's my turn. For whatever reason, a lot of my stuff is charging related. Before we move on to the next actual thing, one thing I forgot to mention with the Genki, the Covert dock is that they kind of make a big deal out of this in the marketing that it's gallium nitride based. Do you know anything about that? Like they really kind of play it up as like, it's next gen charging technology. And I have not really looked into the kind of material science of why that is.
I know that gallium is a very soft metal and that nitride is nitrogen minus some stuff. Okay. That's what I remember.
Okay. I don't know what the previous types of chargers are even based on. Silicon carbide.
Does that mean it's more efficient? Is that the TLDR?
From Googling around. Let's see. Scholarly articles for gallium nitride versus silicon carbide. This might take some time to look into. Anyway.
Yeah, sounds like an episode,
okay,
actually.
I just brought it up because I was curious if you knew off the top of the head.
Never heard of that one. It may be a conflict mineral thing, but silicon carbide doesn't sound particularly conflicty.
I would guess it's an efficiency thing. If I had to guess,
makes sense.
Maybe just like how you can pump more watts out of the same size charger or something like that.
Speaking of efficiency, though.
Yeah, so I threw wireless phone chargers on here, which are pretty old hat at this point. Like everybody knows what those are, but I guess the main reason I wanted to talk about them is this. So this was on Boing Boing. This link was going around on our Discord. But
I put it on there.
I don't know where the actual, oh yeah, that's right. You are the one that posted this. I don't know where the actual research came from that this story is based on, but the headline is report wireless phone charging is an ecological disaster waiting to happen.
Which, probably is already happening. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. I really like my wireless charger.
So do I. I mean, the upshot of this is that, wireless charging, especially if you don't align your device very well with the charging coils in the charger, is insanely inefficient and that you are wasting a massive amount of energy for the same result as you would be with a wired charger. So that sucks. It's a bummer.
So there's a couple of caveats for this. One is that if you have a charger that makes it hard for you to line up the coil on the phone with the coil on the transmitter, you lose efficiency a lot. So like if your phone gets warm when it's charging on the pad, you're probably not lining it up right. So you're wasting a lot of energy.
Because a lot of the extra energy is dispersed as heat, right?
It turns into heat, yeah. The other part of it is so also at the same time, if you have like a stand charger like these Anker ones that you and I use, they probably put the thing in the right spot, because I notice on the stand one it never gets warm unless I have it like cattywampus on the charger.
You have it what?
Cattywampus.
Cattywampus?
Do you not say cattywampus?
It must be an extremely regional term.
It might be English.
I'm practically from the same region as you, and yet I have not heard
Well, it's the thing my mom says. So the source was 10, and basically they just which is 10.medium.com. And they basically put a watt meter on charging pads and wired chargers, timed how long it took to charge, and like measured how much energy the watt meter was saying went in to figure out how much we were wasting. And like, it's one of those things. It's like the vampire power bricks. On the surface, it doesn't seem like it's actually that much energy waste. But then when you multiply that by a few billion phones around the world, it's a kind of a disaster.
It's pretty substantial. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know that we're quite going to go as far as to say never wirelessly charge again, but maybe try to at least get like some of these stand type form factor ones that make it easier to line the device up properly.
Well, and like one of the other things is I know there's a rumor going around right now that Apple is doing a charger for the next series of phones that has like magnetic locking. So when you put your phone down, it locks it, like the magnets move it into the exact right position. So you get better efficiency.
That's cool. That seems smart.
Yeah, we'll see.
A lot harder to do for a universal charger that works with anything, though, of course.
I like not having physical connectors because I feel like physical connectors are a thing that wears down over time.
Hey, well, guess what, Will?
What
if you are so ecologically conscious that you want to cut wireless charging out of your life entirely?
Okay.
And get back to some good, sturdy, reliable wires.
Okay.
We have a charging station.
Ooh, like one of those Blue Lounge jobbers?
Made out of bamboo.
Ooh, fancy.
What is a Blue Lounge?
Blue Lounge is a brand. They used to make charging stations like wooden sides and velvet bottoms that look fancy, like something you're putting your jewelry on.
Kind of looks like that.
I have one in my bedroom. I use it. Okay. I love it. I'm a fan.
Okay. Yeah, these things are all over Amazon. If you just kind of search for, they don't have to be made out of bamboo. That's just the one that we have, and apparently for whatever reason, a lot of them are.
Yeah, bamboo is an ecologically friendly material. Okay. And,
Oh, I just found the actual. This looks pretty much like exactly the one we have.
There you go.
It's just a little slotted wooden device. It's got ours has magnets in it, so the top part it's like a breakaway top. It's got slots that basically like a phone, like some phones will fit into the slots in the front, and then there are bigger slots as you go back. Like the next one back is like an iPad mini size one, and the one behind that is like a full size iPad slot. And that top breakaway with all the stands on it opens up to reveal just an empty chamber inside with kind of runs for cables. You basically run cables through the back, out the sides, so they come out right where the port on the relevant device would be.
Oh, interesting. And then you just drop it in the slot and plug it in?
It's just a little corral. Yeah. It's just, you still have to manually plug the cable in. It's not like it doesn't like secure the cable so it lines up with the port or anything like that. It's nothing nearly that fancy, but it is just a nice, tasteful looking little corral for a bunch of different charging cables to kind of, it eliminates the spaghetti mess, and it just is like one nice little central location for all of your stuff to charge.
And is it one power cord that comes from the wall into that
No, there are no electronics. It is purely just a wooden thing. You still, like I said, not that fancy.
Okay.
You still have to, we just ran everything to a surge protector underneath the console table that it's on.
That sounds that sounds pretty good though. Like that like if you put one of those multi USB chargers under there and got some 1 foot long USB cables, you'd be in business.
So it's really just a way to kind of obfuscate the cable mess coming out of those multi chargers and
hide your crimes.
Make it exactly. Make it look nice. And I'm not going to go as far as to say it's like a nice display piece for your mobile devices or anything, but like it is kind of handy to have your phone like standing up on a stand while it's charging like that. So if you get a text message, you can just kind of walk by and read it.
Well, and it's nice not to like if the problem we have, I mean, with 3 people in the house now with devices is if like it is iPad minis and switches and phones and iPads and laptops and all the things, the electronic detritus of our lives takes up a lot of space.
Totally.
Like if you just lay it flat too. Right. So I can see that.
So totally. This stands everything up vertically. It kind of just gets it all out of the way while it's charging. It's nice for Kindles and stuff like that as well. Like just about anything that'll fit in one of these slots.
I like it. So my last couple, I have 3 more things. 2 of them are kind of the same. So there's, I don't know if you've ever used soldering extra hands, like the things that are like, they have like the little articulated ball joints with wing nuts that you can tighten up and tighten down to like make them tighter knot. And they have alligator clips on the end. So you can hold like if you need to solder 2 wires together, then you can clamp the 2 wires in there, get them lined up exactly, get them all tinned up and
that sounds so nice.
The soldering iron. I've
never used those, but I've never done a soldering project, complicated enough to need that sort of thing. But if I had that stuff, maybe I would.
Well, so the trick is the ones that everybody has that you got at Radio Shack like 20 years ago suck ass because they have a little like cast iron base that theoretically is heavy enough to balance it. But in reality, if you have any kind of weight on those cables, then it's going to tip over just at the moment that you're trying to touch it with the hot soldering iron. And then the whole thing gets out of alignment. And you have to do it all over again. I got a few years ago, I got a really nice, a friend of mine gave me a really nice set of Jeweler's helping hands that are like those, but instead of being on the little tiny cast iron base, they have a great big, huge base with a big stone to absorb the extra heat.
Okay.
Which is great if you're a jeweler, not so great if you're soldering electronics, but the arms are really heavy duty and articulated really well. And you can like set the tension on the grabbers and all that so you don't munch up like delicate stuff. But they were like $150. They were really expensive.
I was just about to say this, something with this fine level of control sounds pretty pricey.
Well, so the thing that's happened in the last few years is that a couple of companies are making these things are called third hands usually, making these that have like the GorillaPod style knobby like snake arms. So like the GorillaPod is like the plastic ball and socket joints that are just segmented and you can put them wherever. So you have like 4 of those arms on a nice big wide base and they're like $20 because they're made of plastic.
Wow.
So KOTTO is the one that I've recommended to a bunch of people and have had really good feedback on.
KOTTO.
KOTTO. I'm not replacing my fancy Jeweler's third hands, but this is what I've been recommending to anybody who needs them. And they're great. You can get them with like with a little magnifier and an LED battery powered LED light if you need that. And if you don't, you can get one that has an extra arm in place of that. And,
that's cool.
They seem really, really dope.
That's cool. That's a soldering station is not at the top of my list of things I would have if I owned a house, but is definitely in the top 5, let's say.
I'm going to tell you, you have more than enough space to have like
I know it doesn't take that much space.
Yeah,
but
a nice soldering station.
I don't know.
You got to get little plastic bins that stuff goes in, and then it goes in the top of your closet. And you pull out the soldering bin when you need to solder.
I want a permanent workbench.
Well, that's a whole different. That's a different set of circumstances. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that uses that same kind of ball and socket joint is this Dinkum Systems Action Pod Pro. And this is a thing I learned about from the Tested Crew because they use them to mount GoPros and like small cameras when they're doing shoots to get like high angles and weird angles and stuff like that. And it's basically just a single arm with a great big plastic spring-loaded clamp on the other end. So you can hook that clamp onto like the side of a bookshelf or a tree branch or like a car door or whatever you happen to have around. And then the other end is a normal 1/4-inch camera mount that you can just screw whatever your camera is on there, whether it's a phone case, like phone camera holder or your small mirrorless or GoPro or whatever it happened. Webcam even. I used it for webcam for years. And it's nice because it's articulated, the arm is articulated, you get more control. You can place the camera exactly where you want it really easily, which is powerful.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Mounting. Gosh, mounting. I just bought a bunch of mounting hardware for a very nice camera that I'm getting.
Ooh, what are you getting?
Well, this is work stuff work paid for. It's not
that
exactly
still counts.
Okay. I put in for a piece of Manfrotto gear. Let's say that. I'll go that far.
That is a fancy tripod.
Yeah.
Is it carbon fiber or aluminum, Brad?
It might be carbon fiber. I'd have to check. It's
so light.
Let me see, man. It's the Manfrotto 244 mini friction arm.
Oh yeah, I like a friction arm.
Which is it's aluminum.
Okay,
so maybe
the carbon fiber is usually like a 4x price difference on the Manfrotto
yes.
stuff.
I mean, it is company money, but we still have to be somewhat price conscious. Anyway,
that's awesome, dude.
Maybe I'll talk more about that stuff once it's for a mirrorless camera.
Nice.
My webcam game is about to get upped significantly.
You getting some depth of field there. You getting a little bokeh.
Yes, hopefully.
That's my next upgrade at the home stream. I think is the mirrorless and yeah.
It's a nice look, but excuse me. The last thing I've got here is, and I bought these things so long ago. I don't even know. I think I got mine from Monoprice, but I've got a whole pile of little articulated HDMI extenders.
What do you mean by articulated?
So some of them are hinged.
Ooh.
One of the ones I have is hinged and rotates, if you can envision that. It's on a hinge, and then also one of the sides on one side of the hinge also can rotate perpendicular to the hinge.
Is this in the service of an extraordinarily long HDMI cable run?
That may have been the genesis of this purchase originally, but they come in handy in all kinds of situations. And I should say, if you just have a TV with consoles hooked up to it and they never move around and you don't need to like hook and unhook video connections all the time, you don't need this stuff. Like this is for people who are doing lunatic things with game consoles all the time.
That sounds awesome.
But they are super handy for if you're running long cables or running cables at weird angles. Like that's kind of what they originally, I think, are for. They're like port savers. They allow your HDMI connection to flex, basically.
Well, yeah, and the problem with like a lot of like I used to have a long HDMI cable that I used to go into the living room through a hole in the wall, and that thing was it was like 15 feet, and it was so thick.
Yes, that is exactly
that. It just didn't bend.
Yes,
so
that's why I originally got this stuff. Is that I've got this 30-foot cable that I don't use it that much these days. Honestly, I mostly play PC games on the PC at this point, but once in a while it's useful. But it's like it's a very heavy gauge. I forget what it is, but it's like you said, it is a heavy. You need a thick ass cable to make the signal go that far, right?
Yeah. That's just science. The thicker the cable, the farther the signal.
Basically, I was worried about the HDMI port in my video card having this thick cable coming out of it that would then get pulled down the hall. If anybody tripped over that cable, it might rip the port right out of the card, right?
Yeah.
So
that seems very expensive. This is a similar concern I have, and there's no MagSafe HDMI cables that I'm aware of.
Let me just grab the end of it real fast and show it to you while I talk very loudly so you can still hear me.
We can't hear you.
I'm like...
We couldn't hear him.
5 feet
Wait,
away.
do you have wireless headphones? Can you hear me through the wireless headphones right now?
No, it's just a very long microphone or headphone cable.
Okay.
Actually, all right.
We're all over the place this week.
Expecting to have a guest on this podcast, but I guess the wallet already showed up, so why stop there, right? Here is the HDMI cable in question. It is, I think it's like 24 gauge cable or something. It's very thick.
Yeah,
very heavy,
that's a chunky cable.
I've got like a little 6-inch extender that's just male to female. So, and it is like a much lighter gauge.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of flex on the cable going up to the video card.
So the heavy part of the cable is supported by that makes a ton of sense. That's really smart.
So then I've got, here's the actual extender thing that I was talking about, which is it's male to female. It's got a hinge. And then it also rotates. Do those work with the newer versions of HDMI? This, I would guess, I bought this in like 2012 or something. I would guess this does not. Yeah. But I would assume they've probably got upgraded versions at this point.
Well, if you're just doing 1080p, it's probably fine. But when you get beyond that, it won't work. I bet.
Right, but like
that's
you can
cool.
envision, like this thing is plugged at a 90-degree angle into the video card.
Yeah,
and so it can go up and down, and then when it gets pulled down the hall, it can also rotate out the door. Like that's
fabulous.
I know this is hard to get across in an audio only form, but if you're running long cables or doing weird stuff with video cables, these things can be a lifesaver and also a port saver.
Well, so we have a handful. There's enough things that we want to. I think we should do pictures of. We'll post a link in the show notes to a Gitbook page that has lists of all of this stuff so that people can find it with links to Amazon and the whole deal.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
My last thing, also cable related. I forgot about these, but they're they're called cable grabbers. A bunch of people make them, but I think Blue Lounge is the one who started making them. And they come in a bunch of different sizes, but basically they're like these little plastic doohickeys with like a groove, a cable sized hole on the top.
More of a doohickey than a doober, huh?
This is more of a doohickey, I think. Yeah. And like you can kind of pinch them open to drop a cable in there, but they'll grip it just enough that it like the end won't fall through. And I use them for cable runs that I don't want to have like a dedicated cable management thing on, but it lets me like I have all the cables that come off of the back of my desk now run to those so that they don't wobble from side to side if I move something around or something like that.
Okay.
And some of them, most of them come with like a foam tape, 2-sided tape on them. I've been pulling all of that off and putting the nano bubble stuff that we talked about a couple of weeks ago on.
Yeah.
And it works a charm.
I think a bunch of people on the Discord got very excited about that stuff after you talked about it. I haven't tried it yet.
I'll put the nano bubble on the list too, because people did ask about it. Just to
refresh people's memory, that's just kind of a very highly grippy surface, right? Without any actual adhesive involved. Is that correct?
It's a foam. It's an adhesive on one side, although you can get it with double bubble side now, and the other side is
double.
Yeah, exactly. The other side is a bunch of like half bubbles. So it's like mini microscopically small suction cups that when you push down on the surface, it locks in place.
Okay.
And you can peel it back just like you would a suction cup or something like that. Once you break the suction, it comes off easily, but there's no adhesive. So there's no residue and it can go on anything that is a relatively smooth surface.
I was just about to ask, here is a question. Have you found surfaces that will not adhere to that stuff?
So like an unfinished wood won't work.
Oh, okay.
Because, but like a poly-coated,
not enough surface area because it's too grainy.
Yeah. There's the stuff that's dusty doesn't work either.
Okay.
But like my desk is a finished wood and that it sticks great to that. Cabinets, countertops, anything metal or stone that's like smooth surface stone works. The back of an iPad works.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of options. It turns out in our electronic world, there's a lot of stuff that fits the bill for this.
Yes, I'm sure. Grip and adhesive are such a strange category of materials and interactions.
We're working our way closer to that glue episode.
I was gonna say, even the people who make it don't know.
Yeah.
I asked that question because do you remember? This must have been like 2+ years ago at this point. I was briefly talking to you about having you 3D print me a mount for an Astro mix amp.
Yeah.
And then I abruptly stopped asking you about it.
Yeah, I was going to cut a laser cut one for you. I think, right?
You had some ideas about how to make some kind of mounting bracket.
I made
for
prototypes.
One of those things.
Yeah.
And then I just gave up asking you. The whole reason was the model I had a silicone. I think it must have been a silicone base. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what that material was. It's like a rubberish kind of rubberized material, but incredibly slick to the touch.
And then it gets really tacky over time.
Well, I never used it long enough because I took it straight brand new out of the package, intending to mount it to the bottom of my desk. And I stuck the 3M command strip, like nice grippy, new age Velcro type stuff on there.
Yeah.
Stuck it to the bottom of that thing, like it fell right off. Like adhesive would not adhere to that silicone surface at all. Like
Did you try foam tape?
Not in the slightest. It was like the weirdest thing I have ever seen.
Wow.
Because you expect that kind of heavy duty, like industrial adhesive to stick to anything, right? It literally it didn't bind in the slightest. It was crazy.
Van der Waals forces are fickle, Brad.
I guess so, right? Yeah. So anyway, what I ended up doing was realizing I could just rip that silicone base off and stick the command strips directly on the plastic. So
I often will do I get Velcro tape. And we'll just make loops and dangle it in the loops and put a little piece of like a Velcro dot on there to hold it in place.
Hang on. I just thought of one more thing since we're talking about it.
Wait, is there something glued under my chair?
Maybe. If you look under your chair, you're all going to find. I just found this stuff recently. Do you use command strips?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
So command strips are usually one side. Actually, both sides usually are the post-it note.
They're basically
glue,
identical. Yes. Well, so it's similar in concept to Velcro, except instead of a loops on one side, hooks on the other type of deal. They're both the same kind of weird plastic teeth on both sides.
So no, that stuff's different. The command strips are different than that. Command strips are the ones that have the pull tab on the end that the glue breaks the seal when you pull the thing.
I should have clarified because there are multiple types of products marketed under the command strip name. I totally forgot about the kitchen hook variety. Yeah. You're talking about the ones that's just adhesive and a hook, right?
Well, I mean, they sell just the adhesive too. You can buy just the adhesive
pads. So I should have clarified. It's the picture hanging kit command strip is what I'm talking about. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen those?
No, I haven't seen that.
So they're the ones that use this kind of plastic Velcro analog. Anyway, the whole reason I brought it up on here is that I found a cheaper source of it. It's still made by 3M. They're all made by 3M, except they sell this stuff under the name Dual Lock, 3M Dual Lock, and they sell it by the foot instead of because the command strip, the picture hanging stuff is very expensive. Oh, yeah. It's like $12-15 for like a half dozen small little strips.
And that stuff will hold what, like 20 pounds if you put the whole strip down?
This stuff was like $15 for 4 feet of it. And
that's awesome.
The lock is incredibly tight.
Do you need and both sides are the same for that? It's not like Velcro, right?
That's what I was saying. Yeah, they all use the same kind of like very rigid plastic teeth that lock together. And yeah, I've got multiple things mounted under my desk with this stuff, and it's incredibly strong.
Oh, that's a good call.
It is. Yeah, 3M Dual Lock is what you're looking for. You could just buy it by the roll.
That's awesome.
It has been pretty great for mounting stuff underneath stuff. right up until it falls off. But
I like to put my stuff under my other stuff.
It's been a couple of years since I've been mounting stuff under stuff with this stuff, and nothing has fallen yet. So I think I'm okay. But
so somebody on my stream the other night suggested getting the stuff that I have a footrest under my desk that I love, but like it moves around because I have hardwood. And somebody was like, why don't you just get the stuff that makes your furniture and your rugs not move and put that on the bottom? And I was like, that is an absolute brain genius idea. So I did that.
Sure.
And now it doesn't move.
That
it's
sounds
perfect.
Great. That sounds pretty good.
Terrific. Highly recommended.
Grip is good.
Yeah.
I'm going to say.
Putting grip is good. It is perfect.
Yes. I guess that's it. I had one other thing off the top of the head, and I totally forgot what it was. Maybe we should just leave it.
I hope we'll get some good feedback from listeners.
Yes, I'm sure
of the things like this that fit their category. Yes. Please send emails. I know we usually talk about the Discord being the right place to talk to us about stuff like this, but in this case, the Discord is real good because it lets us know. I mean, the email is really good because it lets us collect everything in an easy place.
Yes.
So if you have suggestions, send them to email and put like, let's make the subject lines hardware tools, maybe
hardware unitasker.
Hardware unitasker. Yeah, I was trying to avoid that, but okay. And yeah, that'll we'll collect all of these maybe in the email episode this month, the best ones, and share the learnings. I'm sure there will be a big discussion in the Patreon Discord.
Yes, totally.
Which you can find out more about by going to patreon.com/techpod. As always, thank you so much to all of our patrons, but especially our executive producer level patrons, Andrew Cotton, David Allen, and Jacob Chappell. Sorry. And yeah, if you want to find out more, Brad, I noticed you made another new channel. I thought we were on a channel moratorium, man.
Were we? I don't remember that being a formal rule necessarily.
It wasn't formal, but I felt like we were slowing down I like the new channel. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I like the work you've done there.
The PC builds and hardware.
Yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, the PC builds and hardware is the one I was thinking about. I feel like I think Xander maybe had the best name suggestion I've seen for that one, because we've had old ass computers for a long time.
Yes. There was some demand for new ass computers.
New ass computers is the obvious choice.
Yes, but you know how Discord inserts hyphens for spaces in all channel names?
Yes,
that has proved to be a bit confusing for some people because they don't necessarily immediately realize where the actual hyphen is.
They think it's ass computers,
and a number of people have come in talking about old ass computers.
What's an ass computer, Brad?
I've been pondering that question myself for some weeks.
I mean, I had a Wang, but I don't think you would consider that an ass computer.
Have not come to any conclusions just yet. God, this is killing me. We're probably just gonna have to end this episode. I'm racking my brain trying to think of the one last item that I was going to bring up.
Hello, yes.
I just thought of it. I posed this question on the Discord. People heavily discouraged me, I think, including you. Like I said, in addition to the 24-year-old wallet, and the 15-year-old monitors, which, by the way, are going to go any day now.
Ooh! If
anybody in the Bay Area wants to own the monitors that started it all,
own a piece of history.
That's right.
Don't do this.
Oh no! You know what? We should call it Fitz. We should ship these monitors to Fitz.
Fitz doesn't. Nobody wants these monitors, Brad.
He'll put them in his museum, right? These are a piece of history.
These are garbage. These should be gone to the electronic recycling place as soon as possible.
They still work. God damn it! In addition to the 15-year-old monitors and the 24-year-old wallet, as I mentioned, I have this 17-year-old desk chair that is slowly sinking. Finally,
yes.
And I was looking at replacement gas cylinders on Amazon.
Don't do that.
They're like $40.
How much are your teeth worth, Brad?
Probably more than $40.
Yeah. So the thing about replacing the gas cylinder in an office chair is that you have to be prepared for a fairly substantial explosion when you take those things off and put them on.
Okay.
Because it's going to rocket out. I mean, it probably won't. Honestly, it's a 17-year-old chair. It's probably not going to be that scary. Yeah. But also, it's like manual espresso machines where you have a big spring-loaded lever you have to pull down.
Yeah.
Like those things are really cool. And when you go to a cafe that has those, you should turn around and walk out because it's inhumane to the baristas, because it's literally only a matter of time before somebody catches that bar with their chin and shatters their jaw. So yeah,
All right.
Be careful of hydraulic cylinders. They're scary.
Okay. Well,
hydraulics kill.
Yeah. Also, people made it sound like it's just a way bigger pain in the ass to replace than you think, and that probably scared me off of it.
Plus, everything else about your chair is blown out at this point. If the cylinder is no good,
it's
the rest of the chair...
surprisingly good shape for its age, but you're probably right. I should probably get a new chair.
You should give that chair the Viking funeral that it deserves.
Should I pile the 2 monitors in the chair, stick the wallet in there somewhere, take it down to Ocean
Folsom
Beach.
Street.
Take it down to Ocean Beach, shove it out into the water.
No. You take it up to Moraga, the top of the Moraga Hill, and you put on one of those streets. It's a straight shot down the side of the mountain with the monitors and the wallet. And then you light it on fire and push it down the hill and run.
All right. I'm sure that'll go just fine.
The 5-0 loves that stuff.
Yes, I bet they do. I do want to, this is the last thing I'll mention. We can go.
You can ride it down the hill. They do an office chair race down Folsom Street. They used to.
I should enter old Bessie in that one.
Yeah, if you want to get really, really badly injured while destroying a chair, perfect. Do I have the event for you?
Last thing I was going to say, whether I get a new chair or not, I've been eyeing those rollerblade wheels for office chairs. Have you seen those?
I've kind of thought about that for mine. Yeah. They look really dumb.
I'm sure, yes, they do look dumb, but they sound useful. Like they say that they are basically silent or very, very quiet compared to crappy normal office chair wheels. And apparently they glide quite a bit more smoothly.
So I have hardwood wheels on my Gesture, and I love them. I wish I had a way to like chalk it in place and lock them because they don't lock. Usually it is not a problem, but sometimes if I'm playing a game and I'm like, VRing or whatever in the chair, then I rock it side to side and it gets to be a bit much.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Brad. When you replace that chair, have you ever thought about getting a subwoofer for the chair?
What?
Like a butt kicker. Do you know about this? Do you remember this?
Like an in-home D-box? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, they still make these. This was a thing that came out in like 2006 and I saw and I was like, that's kind of silly, but I'm into it.
Oh, is it built into the chair or is that the one that like lays on top of your chair?
You bolt it onto the chair somehow.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, it's an add-on. I think you should get a butt kicker when you get the chair. That's the takeaway.
It's just forced feedback for your rump.
Feel the game.
Okay.
Feel the game.
Yes, I can't wait.
So I guess that'll do it for us this week. Thanks everybody for listening. As always, we really appreciate support of the Patreon. The URL for that again is patreon.com/techpod.
Yes, thank you so much.
We're coming up on another email episode, and we haven't gotten a ton of emails yet. So if you have questions about either episodes or just general tech stuff, you can email us at techpod@content.town. And
or hardware doohickeys or doodads or clump waddles. What was the term you used?
Cattywampus? Cattywampus means it's crooked. It's not. It's off-centered.
I'm sorry. I just made something up.
Clump waddles? Good God, man.
Thanks for listening, everybody.